So if you've ever felt anxious or stressed before a sales call, or worse, the thought of sales at all just completely terrifies you or turns you off, where you think sales is this dirty, sleazy, Wall Street businessman kind of world, then stay tuned for this video because I am going to shatter that belief and teach you an approach to sales that will allow you to sell without being pushy or aggressive and will almost eliminate all those nerves you get before the calls as well. I read somewhere that the thing we put off doing is usually the thing we need to do the most. And I think this could not be more true for sales, especially for introverts and creative personality types. Now, I am not confusing these two. There are a lot of introverts with zero creative ability, and there are a lot of extroverts with creative ability. But within these two groups, I find that there's a lot more apprehension around sales because your traditional approach to selling that you see in the movies is this hard, aggressive, kind of extroverted sale. Hey ma'am, can I get you a new vacuum cleaner? Look at that, this new Hoover, blah, 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 that kind of stuff, right? And that is not appealing to someone who is more empathetic, to someone who's more creative, or to someone who's more introverted. But the good news is that that approach to selling not only is old-fashioned, but it doesn't work, and that there's a much better way to sell that is going to allow you to be more relaxed, enjoy the sales process, help your clients more, and actually not be terrified of doing it. This is consultative selling, and it's something that I have been teaching for a couple of years now, and I want to introduce you to. By the end of this video, you're going to have enough tools to actually start doing this in your business and see the difference in your sales meetings. And then from there, it's a topic if you enjoy, you can dive deeper and deeper and become an absolute pro at. All right, so what is consultative selling? First things first, it does not involve giving a consultation, okay? Keep that in mind. You are giving no free advice during this meeting. But what you're doing is you're flipping things on the script. See, the traditional approach to selling, if you think about it, you imagine the salesperson, talk, 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 right? The salesperson's probably talking 80, 90% of the time. This helpless client is sitting there being pitched at, wondering what the heck is going on and whether or not they're going to fall for these tricks. Consultative selling turns that around, and instead of you talking 80 or 90% of the time, you should sit back, relax, and talk for no more than 20% of the time. In fact, the target is 10% or less of the meeting should be you speaking. So how do you fill this time? Well, if there's two people in the meeting, guess who does the talking? Exactly, it's your prospect. So what you want to do is ask really powerful questions. And don't worry, I'm going to share those questions with you in this video. You want to ask really powerful questions, and this will get the prospect talking. And as they get talking, you're able to listen, find out more about them, and direct the conversation. On a side note, one really cool thing about this is that if you're talking 80% of the time in the bad way of selling, it's very easy to get nervous, right? To get caught up and think, oh God, I don't know what to say next. And then you keep going and then it can get really awkward. I don't know if that's happened to you. It has definitely happened to me. Also on a lot of dates. But in this approach to selling, because you're asking the questions, you're in charge, is you're able, like if you get nervous, you can go and ask a question and then sit back and yes, listen, but also be thinking about what to do next and analyzing what's happening. So it allows you to basically have like a big timeout in the middle of the sales meeting, which is really handy, right? Another benefit to these questions is that you're going to learn a lot more about your client. I had someone write into me asking me about unhappy clients, basically having too many revisions where they kept going back and forth, back and forth. And that is more than likely because they weren't following the sales approach. When you follow this approach to selling, you learn so much about your client that not only could you marry one of your daughters to them, but you're able to deliver an amazing project because you actually understand what they need and what they want. So using this approach, I had very, very few revisions in my copywriting business because it works that well. Now, let's get into some of the questions you can ask, and I recommend writing these down and keeping them as sort of a cheat sheet during your meeting. Now, there are literally dozens of questions you can ask. In my group coaching program, I have like a 6-page document of all the different questions and stages you can go through. But what I want to do here is just cover the 4 most important to get you started. Then you can try them out in your next meeting, see if they work for you. If they work for you, then maybe you trust me a little more and you'll listen to my next video about this, right? I want to keep it simple first because it's all about practicing and getting started, and then you can keep advancing. So the first question to ask is, what is the most important thing you're trying to accomplish with this project? Pause. think about it. Now, you're not asking what the project is. You're not asking, what the actual outcome is in terms of, oh, I want a website. Okay, when do you want the website done by? When do you want, do you want it on WordPress or on Squarespace or whatever? You're not asking that question. You do ask that at some point in the project as well. But what I mean is you're getting to their end goal, right? So is the reason for having a website to get more customers? Is it to act as a customer website for their existing customers? Is it a credibility piece where they don't even want a website, but they think they need one? You're getting to the end goal of that, and that's going to help you understand really what's important to them, not what you think is important. Because you could have a client that wants a project from you and you assume it's for, this reason, but it's actually for this reason. And so you end up either making it way too small or way too large because you don't actually understand their overall big picture goals for it. The second question you should always be asking in your meetings is, what is your number one business goal for the next 6 to 12 months? This is going to help you understand their big picture, right? What they're actually doing. There's a few benefits to this. First, you're going to start to be able to think about how your project fits in with all their other goals. Second, you're going to get to know them better and show them that you are a big picture thinker. You're not just there to sort of do some graphics or do some writing, but you're a business person and you're thinking about their goals as a whole. Third, and possibly most important, is you're going to see where you could perhaps do more work for them, right? They might have brought you into one small project and then you find out about everything else they're trying to do and you realize, okay, I can help you on this and this and this and all this other stuff too. So suddenly your $3,000 project becomes a $12,000 project because there's so much more going on with them. One quick point with this is if you're dealing with a solopreneur, like another freelancer or consultant, or a small business, anywhere from 2 to 30 employees, if you're dealing with the owner, there's a very good chance their personal goals overlap with the business goals. So for example, they have a big sales push and they want to increase their revenue by 20% that year. But you find out the reason really behind that is that her son is going off to college and she wants to be able to pay the tuition, or he's going through a divorce and needs to cough up some more money. So getting to know the personal reasons behind the business goals is also a good strategy as well. It helps deepen the bond with a client and also just helps you understand who they are as a person, because ultimately business is relationships. So the third question you should always be asking is, how does this project relate to your bigger business goals? Now, sometimes this will seem really obvious and you might even feel stupid asking it. Ignore that. It's okay to look stupid. Look at me. I look like a moron at least 80% of the time in my videos here, right? So the reason I say you should ask, even if it seems obvious, is it may not always be obvious. And, or what I mean is the obvious thing is not actually what it is. So you might think there's reason X for the project, but it's actually reason Y. And you might be proactive in how you do the project and the different software you use, how you set it up, whatever it is, because you made an assumption. And if that turns out to be wrong a few months into the project, that can be a disaster in terms of revisions and a disappointed client and all that stuff. So what I found is it's always better to risk looking a little stupid, to risk asking a question where they think, oh, wait, didn't you, shouldn't you know that? Just to double check. And you can even say that to them. You can say, I assume the way this project works in with your goals is this, but I just want to double check that with you to make sure I have everything together. Because, yeah, it's just really important. I've had coaching clients where they went into a project and they assumed a bunch of things and then the work became a disaster and had to work backwards. And that was obviously before we covered this question and the importance of it. Now we're going to get to the fourth question that I think you should be asking in all your meetings, but before we do, just think about how much better a meeting would go if you took this approach, if you were asking these questions, right? You're sitting back, you're asking a question, your prospect is talking to you, they're sharing, you're finding out more and more about them. That's not only, of course, making your relationship better, but it's helping you understand what they want for the project, and so you can deliver a much better project. And how much more relaxing is it if you're saying, 50 words, 100 words? No, of course you're commenting on what they say and having a dialogue, but primarily you're asking these questions, which is so much better than memorizing some crazy sales script, right? Works so much better, and it's just a much more enjoyable meeting. Again, this is primarily a mindset. So these questions I'm giving you are my golden material. They are absolutely worth writing down and using. But the bigger thing here is the mindset of thinking, how can I learn about my client? What do they really need? How can I help them? coming at it from that point of view rather than how can I sell them. Rather than talking to them, you ask and you listen. If you didn't have any questions, but you just applied that mindset of ask questions, listen, like a detective, and instead of solving a crime, you're trying to solve how you can most help your client. If you just do that, you're going to notice dramatically different results in terms of your business. And just to give you an understanding of how effective this can be, when I was having sales meetings, I would have anywhere from 50% or more of people I would meet with would end up becoming a client. With that as well, a lot of my projects had no revision work, and those that did, it was usually one set of revisions total. With that as well, I was never not paid by a client unless we came to some kind of mutual understanding, which happened, I think, twice. Other than that, I was always paid in full by every client, and I contribute a lot of that to this sort of approach to selling, where it's just such a deeper connection and understanding with your client. It sounds like some kind of sexual affair. A deep, heartfelt connection with your client. You get to know them inside and out. Really though, that's what you want to be going for. Now let's get to the fourth question, the last question you want to ask in the meeting, and that is, why did you want to meet with me today? Sounds obvious, right? It's not, because they've told you what the project is, they've told you why they want to do the project, but why they wanted to meet with you. And yes, this is a bit of a tricky question here, and I mean tricky in terms of a little psychological trick, because what you're doing here is you're making them vocalize why they wanted to meet with you. So they might say, you know, I was looking to hire someone and I went to your website and I really liked, you know, what you had to say. Like, you seem like you know what you're talking about. Or they might say, well, you know, my friend Bob, because my examples are always Bob, my friend Bob referred you and he said that you did amazing work for him and he got some great results. So I was wondering if you could do the same with me. What do you do in this case? They say this and you go into your sales pitch, right? All right, let me tell you why I'm the best. I got 10 testimonials from clients all over the world. No, you just say, oh, thank you. Well, it would be great to work together. Is it okay if I send you a proposal tomorrow? That's it. They've sold themselves. They have vocalized why they wanted to meet with you specifically, right? So the other questions are about why they want to do the project, but not why they want to do it with you. This question gets them to vocalize why they want to work with you in particular. Therefore, they sell themselves on you. You eliminate all that awkward back and forth about you know, why they should hire you. Like, that's the worst conversation you can ever have. If someone in a prospect ever says to you, why should I hire you? That is a bad conversation. You can get out of it alive, but I hate those. It's brutal. You're supposed to sell yourself on the call, and that's not even really the right strategy, is to be selling yourself. Anyhow, you don't want to get to that, and this question helps you avoid that and just has the prospect sell themselves. So work this in. You can use it at the beginning of the meeting in theory, but I think it's way more powerful to use at the end. If you use it at the beginning, it kind of just gets them talking about the project, right? Because they'll assume that's what you're asking about. If you use it at the end of the meeting, that's when they'll get talking about you specifically. Now, I know there are so many more moving parts to this. In my group training program, we do like a 3-hour unit on it, okay? So there will definitely be questions. Feel free to ask them in the comments and I will make follow-up videos. There's tons of stuff that can come up with this, but take this mindset, this framework, and these 4 questions and just try it out. And if you're not yet in business with yourself, right, you're just kind of getting started or thinking about it, or you don't have a client to try it out with, try it out on a date. Try it out with a friend that you would like to date, even better. But really, try this in any conversation, and you will see how dramatically different it is when you start to ask people kind of bigger questions, right, about their goals, what they want to achieve, all that sort of stuff, and then just shut up and listen and see what happens. So try this out in some aspect of your life and let me know in the comments how it went. I make new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That's a lie. I don't make them then, but I post them then, and sometimes on Saturday or Sunday. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. Lots coming up over the next few months about business, marketing, sales, personal development, managing your moods, getting more done, and just making your life as awesome as it can be for you. So subscribe to the channel. I will catch you in another video soon, and thanks for watching.